Okay, so, end of the season. Time to do a transfer special and season review. Only this time we're going to be making sure that we're getting ready for the Football League. Hi there, how you doing? Welcome to my MyCareer Save here on FM24. My name is Stu. Thank you for joining me in today's video, which is part number 15 with Spennymoor Town. And as I said, we've finished the season, so we are going to be going into the transfer special. We are going to be going into the season review and trying to get ready to make ourselves a league side for the first time in the club's history. And if you're excited to see how we do that, because I know I am, then don't forget to leave a big like on there for me, and don't forget to subscribe as well. It's completely free to do so, and you'll keep up to date with all the nonsense that comes out of this face right here. So, you can see on the screen there are 2 trophies. That is because we did in fact win the FA Trophy final on penalties. So, another 2 trophy season. I'm not going to complain about that, but the big one was, of course, getting that back-to-back promotion. I do think that's going to be the end of us getting our own way in this save, if I'm honest. But let's get into things. Let's have a look and see how things are going. So in terms of transfers of the season, that is the list of them. In terms of the best rated player, Lewis Banks. What an addition he was. An assist king from right back. I have never had a fullback as good with assists as he has been. He's been sensational. He has been so good for us. 3 goals as well, just to help out. Alex Ferguson was the next best player on the list. 11 goals, 18 assists. Had a slow start, but ended up being crucial for us. Very, very solid player. Amari Benjamin was a bit of a surprise. Did not think for a second he was going to force his way into the team the way that he did. But when he did, my God, he became our star striker for this season. Joe Mendes, we brought in on loan from Burnley. Was mixed, but was good overall. Had some really good moments. Also had some anonymous games. Elliot Hewitt was a late backup for Lewis Banks. Filled in admirably when he needed to. Certainly not going to be a long-term replacement for him, but certainly did a job. Harrison Wood took a while to get his flowers, but my goodness me, when he found his form, he found it. Not responsible for us winning the league, but he certainly was responsible in the game that we won the league. Now, it's interesting, we've not actually got any transfer reactions to any of these players, which is quite funny. Dan Langley is actually given the signing of the season. Would I agree with that? I don't know if I would. He's been good enough for us, but I don't know, because we didn't start with him as like, well, we had him, he started with him, then we moved on to Popple, who's goalkeeper, who was already here, but then we moved back to Langley, so I don't know, probably wouldn't go with that one. Connor Wood, we bought him from Tranmere. He was our left back. Started really badly, but eventually came good with 12 assists and a goal. Jack Hunter in midfield, great rotation option, very, very solid when he came in. Regan Riley, rotation option, but also started quite a few games in a way as well. That central midfield we never nailed down, who are 2 starters were in defensive midfield, but he was one of the options. We also had Liam Ravenhill, who was in a part exchange deal for someone who I can't remember. He did absolutely fine. He was okay. Ollie Dyson we had last season. We brought him in again. Was okay. Not as good as he was last season, but it was okay. But, yeah. Was expecting a little bit more from him, if I'm honest. Aaron O'Reilly from Huddersfield on loan did an absolutely fine job. Ben Ward's the centre-back. Did really well, but towards the end of the season was making a few mistakes here or there. And Finlay McAllister will pretend didn't exist. I do just want to check. Obviously, we lost Nathan McGinley, which was a bit of a shame. I'm just checking. There was one particular player. He's not on this list. I was looking for the player who was the part exchange player, but he's not on this list, actually. I don't know what his name was, but I'd know him if I saw him, but I don't see him, so I don't know him. Into the season results. It's been a good season. 115 points in the National League is a little bit nuts. And Gateshead, of all teams, who finished 7th in the league, have ended up getting promoted out of the playoffs. Fair play to you, Gateshead. Get in there. But that's our results for the season. As you can see, did lose a couple of games in that first half of the season. 3 to be exact. But then we just kicked on from there. And from the end of October, we were unbeaten in the league. Madness. Utter madness. As you can see, the last few games of the season looks like that. In fact, you can't see that because my big head's in the way of it. But we did okay in the last few games of the season. We won all of the ones since the last time you were with us, which is good. Average home attendance was only 74%. That is a bit of a concern. So, a little bit worried about that. FA Cup run. Beautiful. Was exactly what we wanted. We got through to the FA Cup proper. Got through to the 3rd round. Had a disappointing draw against Lincoln City, although that did bring some money in. But we actually got past them, who are a League One side, by a goal. 3-2 in the end. And that got us an away tie against Arsenal, and that's where the money came in, and that really earned us the Benjamins, which was great. 4-0 loss, never been happier to have that in my life. And then the Challenge Trophy, the FA Challenge Trophy, we did end up winning it against Forest Green Rovers in the final on penalties, which was glorious. Moments to remember, 6-0 against Southend in December, sure, fine, okay, why not? I'm not angry about that at all. Match to remember was 3-1 against Aldershot in October. Sure, why not? A goal of the season was actually Dyson. I want to see this one because I don't remember this at all. It was Dyson in the 11th. It wasn't the 11th minute. It was the 61st minute. Why do you think it was the 11th minute? Let's just see. Is it so far back that we won't be able to see it? No, we'll be able to see it. Okay. I'm trying to think whether I can remember this. By the way, if I take occasional moments away from speaking, it's because A, I've bitten the inside of my mouth here, and B, I'm also horribly ill at the moment as well. That is a tasty goal. That is a tasty goal. I'm really, really not feeling well at the moment. I'm down with a cold, but I haven't recorded videos in like about a week and a half just because I've been busy. So I did kind of want to not leave it any longer, but I feel rough as anything. But you know what? This is my commitment to the channel, who barely has anyone watching. In terms of the finances, all the finances up this season, which is what we want to see. In terms of sponsorship, it's up from last season by about 15k or 14k. Broadcast revenue up by a couple of thousand. Corporate and hospitality up massively by like 70,000 or something like that. My maths is not particularly great at the moment. Again, I'm ill. About 70-ish thousand. Competition prize money up by about 100,000. And match day commercial and retail is up by about just under 200,000, which is good to see. Our reputation is also up by a half star, which is nice. And in terms of the shirt sales, Ferguson is number 1. You can barely read it on there. Amari Benjamin is next. I think that's Ben Al-Mahani. It is. Richards is there and Taylor is there. We will be losing Taylor. He is retiring. And we're probably going to lose Ben Al-Mahani, not because I want to get rid of him, because he has dropped down to 2 stars, which concerns me. He's been really good this season, but I don't think he's going to be the same in the National League. In the Football League, in League 2. I don't think he's going to be quite the same. Now, in terms of the team of the season, 4-2-3-1 wing play, of course it was. Langley in goal, Banks, Burke, Ward, Wood in defence. Yeah, absolutely. Ravenhill and Riley in the middle. On balance, sure, fine. Ben Al-Mahani, Ferguson and Richards, absolutely. Richards up front, absolutely. It's rare this is 100% like with what I would think it would be. I've got a feeling this is the second season in a row it's been bang on, and we have rotated as well, so that obviously is a good one. I mean, again, Benjamin actually did rotate quite a lot, which is even more impressive with the amount of goals he got as well. Ben Al-Mahani as well, 24 from the wing, along with 15 assists. The guy has been an absolute monster. Now, in terms of accolades, Manager of the Month for me, October, November, December, and the Manager of the Year. Thank you. In terms of the club awards, Fans Player of the Season was Ben Al-Mahani. Yeah, sure, I expect that. Young Player of the Season, Carlos Richards. Yeah, I'm okay with that. Signing of the Season, Dan Langley. Okay, fine. I'm not against it, but it feels like a bit of a weird one. Ollie Dyson with the goal of the season. I would agree with that. It was a screamer. Amari Benjamin was our top goal scorer. Assists-wise, it was Lewis Banks. Player of the Match awards was Ben Al-Mahani. Highest average rating was Ben Al-Mahani. And most passes per 90 was Aaron O'Reilly. In terms of competition awards, I've got National League Player of the Season for Yassin Ben Al-Mahani. 30 years old. Probably a National League North or South player, but he's managed to get his way to there, which is great. In terms of record breakers, again, with a pinch of salt, this is from the start of the save. Carlos Richards has got 3 for most goals by a player in a league match. Most assists by a player in the season was Lewis Banks with 21. That is a good number, to be fair, even so it is just from the start of this save. Most league goals by a player. 198 for Glenn Taylor. Couldn't get him to 200. They did start him in the last few games to try and get him over the line, but we couldn't quite get it. He is officially our oldest player. At 36 years and 0 days, he managed to get that bang on. He must have played the last game on his birthday. Fastest goal, 16 seconds, Ollie Dyson. I vaguely remember that and being really impressed with it. And oldest goal scorer, again, Glenn Taylor. 35 years, 308 days. He just couldn't quite make up the 57 days? It's 57 days there where we couldn't score a goal, which is a bit of a shame. But that is the end of the season, which is fantastic. But now we need to have a look towards the future. So we are going to be going into the Football League for the first time in this club's history. Whatever we do here is a success. That's what we have to remember. Now, we need to have a chat with the board There has been an internal takeover. It's not provided any more money, but there has been an internal takeover. What are they looking for? So, end of next season. They've not actually put anything down for what they want for the end of next season. All we've got is that my contract expires. So, I'd like to think that that means that we're safe no matter what happens. It probably won't mean that. They'll probably add something in later on. Now, they want us to play attacking football. I can do that, but as we're a newly promoted side, I think that's ambitious. Make the most of set pieces. I'd like to do that. I think that's very sensible. Entertaining football. Sure, I'll try. And counter-attacking football. Don't like counter-attacking. You're probably going to have to deal without that. It's a good job it's favoured. Well within the wage budget they want us to do. Required, fine, I'll do that. And 1-year contracts for players over the age of 33. Ideally, I don't want to sign any players over the age of 33. But if we do, I shall bear that in mind. And they want us going forward to become an established League 2 team. They're not looking for immediate promotions or anything. They're just looking for survival. I can work with that. We're going to just accept that. That feels like a good thing to me. We're going to say that to the boys. And we're going to say we're... I don't really... We'll try that one. Yeah, we go. Pump the fists. That's exactly what we wanted to do. Brilliant. Motivated the boys. So, let's have a look at the team and let's work out what the devil we're going to do. Ignore the players on loan. None of them are any good, apart from him. Actually, no, they're not. That's a lie, actually. They are good, but they're all old men. And I don't think I'm going to be signing any of them, although he does look quite tasty. Although he's a National League player. The problem is a lot of the players are National League players, so we kind of have to deal with that. The squad is definitely not going to be good enough, so we're going to have to try and do some wheeling and dealing. Money-wise, we've got the best part of 10 grand and £500,000 a week. Best part of 10 grand a week and £500,000 in the transfer kitty. So, you know, it is what it is. We'll try and do what we can with that. Now, elephant in the room, those two players on the screen, I have signed them already. We've got Reece Munro, who's a central defender / right back from Manchester United. Absolutely fine. He'll grow. He's young. He's got potential. He's cheap as well. And he's got good consistency. I'm quite happy to bring him in. I think he'll be really, really good for us as a long-term investment. Then we've got Cameron Ismail, who is, again, really good left back. He would be a competitor for the starting of this team at the moment. But it's just how we'll do in League 2. Again, probably both players who would be better off having the season in the National League, but they're going to just be going straight into the mixer for League 2, whether they like it or not, basically. So we've got those two in already. They're costing us a pittance overall, to be honest with you. They're costing us, between them, there you go, at the bottom actually, £850 a week. Still got 10 grand spends, which is great. So we now need to think about how we're going to be spending that 10 grand. This squad is not going to be good enough, as it is at the moment. We are losing Will Harris, we are losing Rhys Staunton, and Glenn Taylor is retiring and joining the coaching staff. We are losing O'Reilly, Wood, Mendes and McAllister. But the rest of the squad is here for at least next season. Now, we need to have a look through this squad of players that we've got. Ignore the two at the bottom. This squad of 17, who's good enough, who's not? Well, Jack Hunter definitely isn't. So I think he's going to be the one to begin the exodus, I think. So it's going to be him. I'm going to pop him on the transfer list right now. We need to be a little bit ruthless about this. Let's just go for it straight away. Now, Spennymoor must register at least 8 players trained by the club, or by a club in England currently 0 registered. I don't really understand that. That's for next season, isn't it? That's fine. We've got them registered because we've never played in the league before. I'm going to put him up for... Do I put him up for nothing? And probably not. We'll try and get some money from him. We'll try and get 40,000. We'll just see what happens with that. We can always bring it down. But he's the first one to go on the transfer list. Ben El Mahani's probably the next one. But I am going to hold off on that just for the moment because he's been one of our best players. But he's a leading player for the league below us before we even get promoted. So he is probably going to go. Ollie Dyson's probably going to go. He's not going to be good enough, I don't think. What's his current level? Decent player for this league. Yeah, we'll bin him off. Then we're going to be getting rid of most of the players in the squad here, to be honest. We'll try and get 100k for him. We'll try and do that. You've got potential, that's fine. You've got a bit of potential, that's fine. You've got potential, that's fine. Connor Wood. I mean, you've actually been decent, so I think we'll keep you and have the other guy as the starter. Henry Popper will be a decent enough starter. Decent enough backup goalkeeper. Alex Ferguson, not that one, we will be keeping. Ben Ward will be keeping. Carlos Richards will be keeping. Murray Benjamin will absolutely be keeping. Callum Luck is a youngster. He's just come up because he's too old. We haven't got an under 21s team. Harrison Burke will be keeping, although he needs to put some work in to get his potential up, and then the others are youngsters. So there's actually not that many players that we're looking to bin off, but we are looking to add on some real potential superstars at this level if we can do. I am going to put Ben El Mahani on the transfer list. We've got no room for sentiment, no room whatsoever. We need to get these players out the door, generate a few more pennies, because if we get rid of them, that's Jack Hunter at 350, Ben Al Mahani at 700, that's another 1,000 there, and Ollie Dyson's another 750. So we can get about £1,700 in wages if we get rid of just those players. If Isaac Fletcher did go as well, like he did once earlier in the season, that's another £1,600 on wages as well, so that would be great. But remember, Taylor's £1,500 is going, so is Reece Staunton's 300, and so is Will Harris's 400. So we are going to have more money to play with when it comes to making some deals. I am actually going to put these guys for release, set them for release, and the others are already on the transfer list anyway. So yeah, we're just going to go with that and see what happens. Now, in terms of these guys who are on loan, are there any that we'd want to keep? Well, I'd like to keep Joe Mendes, if I'm honest. Good player for League 2 sides. Will they let me make an offer for him? 5 to 50k. The problem we've got is, will he get a release clause? He's got a minimum fee release clause of £43,000 a week, £43 million a week rather. That's ridiculous. He's got a short time left on his contract. So is he running out of contract at his club? He is. He is. We might be able to sign Mendes on a free transfer. We'll keep an eye on Mendes and we'll see whether we can bring him in on a free. Harrison Wood I'd like to bring back. He's definitely kicked it up a notch. Good player for the league we're currently in, which means he would be a half-decent player in the league above. He's got another year on his contract, though. Blackburn might be willing to let him go, but probably not on the cheap. I don't really want to spend my transfer budget just on him. Finley McAllister can go back to Man United. I'm not bothered about him. And Aaron O'Reilly, it's been a decent backup, but he's not the quality that we need. He is more for North and South teams, so not that bothered about that. Right, I'm going to go away. I'm going to try and form a battle plan. And then I'm going to bring you back on the 1st of July and we'll have a look at what we've done with the squad. And fingers crossed, we'll have started the first couple of steps in putting together a proper League 2 side. Just a quick one that I hadn't realised as well. We are actually expanding our stadium to fit in with league requirements. So we're going to be expanding it by 1,250 seats effectively. And it's going to cost us 1.4 million, which is a lot of money. However, we've managed to get it from grants from the authorities. Money-wise, up until this point, we've got £1 million in the bank, so we can afford it with that grants. But it does mean that the money that we've spent so much effort in raising this season is going to be just funneled into the stadium, which, to be fair, is not a problem. But it is slightly annoying, if I'm honest. But that is definitely going to be a step in the right direction for this football club. I don't know whether that will tell us already on here what it will be. So currently, we're a 3,500 seater stadium that's only got 656 seats. Currently reduced by 492. We've barely got any seats at the moment, basically. That's what's telling me. So at the moment, we're going to have a lot more seats in once it's done. It's going to be done by December, which is a long time. And that's going to cost us money. Yikes. And it begins. We have our first job offer in the save. And it's from Barrow. No offence to Barrow, I'm not overly excited at this as an opportunity, and there's one reason for that. They've been relegated from League 2. They'll be playing in National League next season while we're playing in their place. It's unfortunate because if another League 2 team had come in, I mean, this is what I did last season in FN23. We got the team we were playing with at the time promoted, who, they've gone out of my head. Dartford. We started with Dartford. We got them promoted to League 2. And then, pretty quickly, Tranmere Rovers actually are the ones who came in for us. We went to them, who were still in League 2, who had just been relegated from League 1. And we got back-to-back promotions with them. So we did really, really well. I'm not taking a step backwards. Barrow, in the nicest possible way. Your reputation is better than ours. You are a bigger club than ours, but we're a club that are going places. I cannot justify taking a step backwards, and that is what that would be. So thank you very, very much, but it's a no from me. 1st July is upon us. We haven't really made any transfer business, but we have brought in a lot of players on loan. When I say a lot of players on loan, what I mean is there's quite a few. And most of them are actually better than the squad that we've currently got. So there's definitely going to be some players here we need to have a serious look at and decide if we want to bring them in. I mean, Elias Lenz, Ronnie Stutter, Akil Higgins, Jaden Sweeney, Waltman, Tavares, Easton, Doherty, Boyce. They're all contenders to come into this side if we can afford all of them, because they all look really, really good. And they're all decent League 2 players as well, who will complement the players that we've already got. So there is a good roster of players who are here on trial. Hopefully we can bring some of them in. I've also had to renegotiate some of the existing players' contracts to get them on full-time contracts. They were on part-time before because they were semi-pro. There are still a couple here or there who are still on semi-pro. Henry Popple, for example, is still on a part-time contract, but those players are ones that we're not sure if we're keeping, so I do need to have a look at those as well. But that is how it's looking on trial lists. I did trial lists about in-game about half a month ago, and then I've done them just now when teams have released their players, and obviously we've got the cream of the crop now, whereas before we got kind of the dregs. So I'm excited to see what we can get out of this. There's definitely some quality players. I mean, we don't know much about him so far, but he's consistent. He's not got an issue with big games. He looks like he could be a superstar for this level, so I'd really like to bring him in. He's German. I don't know whether that's a problem, because, of course, remember, EU rules and stuff. I mean, has he got English as another nationality? No, he doesn't. That could be a problem. We'll go for it anyway, just in case, but we might be up a creek without a paddle with him, unfortunately. But there's other players we can look at as well. He's not the only option there. I mean, Ronnie Stutter looks good. Akil Higgins looks good. There's other players we can bring in instead of him. It's just he looks utterly sensational and would be one of the... I think he'd be a good to leading player in the league. Good player for most League 2 sides. So he'd be a really good player to bring in. We just need to see whether we can make it happen, which is what I'm going to go and do. I'm going to go away and try and do that and see whether we can bring in a lot of those players. I do just want to point out, in terms of myself, currently, I am a Continental B licence holder studying for Continental A. We are shooting up the coaching ladder. Again, once we've got that Continental Pro licence, on to training. We are on to training. And more job offers, I think, will come. I've not had any since the previous one. But, you know, I'm quite content with what we've got at the moment. Yeah, we'll see what happens. I'm quite looking forward to a season that's going to be a bit more of a challenge, as opposed to the last 2 seasons where we've just kind of kept winning everything. So, speaking of which, I'm going to go away, try and do some transfers, and we'll see whether we can make this squad even better than it already is, which I think we need to if we want to stay in League 2. Might sound like a pessimist, I would say I'm a realist. Okay, we're about 2 to 3 weeks away from the beginning of the season. Again, our first season in League Football, which is very exciting. So I thought I'd give you a quick update as to how the squad is getting on. In terms of outgoings, that's been quite difficult. We've got a number of players on the transfer list. No one wants them. Not really a lot we can do with that. So we are relying on bringing in players, which we have done in plentiful fashion. We've also got some players we're looking at bringing in on free or cheap loans. So in terms of players who we brought in, you already know about these two. Cameron Ismail and Reece Monroe from Arsenal and Manchester United. Youngsters, we brought those in June. Counts as last season. This season, we haven't spent any money other than wages, but we've so far brought in this selection of players. So the first one is this lad, Jaden Sweeney. He is a left back, a very decent left back. He's good enough for this level. He will do a decent enough job for us as our new, potentially starting left back. I have got 3 left backs at the moment, so I feel like he will probably be the starting left back, but he'll definitely, even if he's not that, be in rotation for it. But he looks like a good option. We then have upgraded the goalkeeper, Luke McNicholas. If I can get my words out, that'd be even better. He has come in. He is also a League 2 quality player. Just an upgrade on what we had last season, and I think he'll be a really good one as well. Again, cost us nothing. Now this guy, Johnny Yafeko, we had to play a little bit hard to get with him. We had to pay a bit more than we wanted to for him, but we have brought him in as a new central defender. The problem we now have is we have 2 of our best central defenders being preferred on the left side, but only one of them can obviously play there, so that's a bit of a problem, but he is going to be a bit of a beast for us. I'm quite happy with him. Then brought in Andy Rinamotta. I think if you've played football around this kind of level in Football Managers of the past, you'll probably know this guy. Zimbabwean international, 10 caps, 1 goal, 29 years old. He's on the decline, but he'll do a job for us. He has actually decreased since he's got here. He was actually a 3-star, 3.5-star player. He's now not. I mean, I've been really tricked by his natural fitness level, haven't I? Because I figured that he wouldn't drop down, but he has already dropped down. So this might be a bit of a bust, but we brought him in. He only lasts for 1 season, he only lasts for 1 season. Ben Doherty was next, winger. Again, good enough for this level, 29 years old. He's an upgrade on some of the players we had in that position. He'll be a good player for us. He'll do a decent job. He's not spectacular, but he'll do the job well. Can also, if we shift to a formation that has central midfielders, can play central midfield as well, which is nice to have. We then brought Joe Mendes back in. He's actually now our player. We've brought him in on a free transfer. He's got one of our ESC slots. I think that's for players who fail the criteria for a work permit. You get a couple of them for a season. I don't know. I'm not very familiar with it. But yeah, that's what we've done. And we've brought him in and he will do absolutely fine for us as a winger, like he did last season. Very happy with that one. And then we've also brought in, very recently, Azim Abdullahi, who is a Scottish under-21 international with 4 caps, 23 years old now. And honestly, I didn't think we were going to get this guy, but he's quality. Now, he is more of a playmaker, although he's got 10 passing. I'm not going to be using him as a playmaker, I don't think, but he does look like he would be a really, really solid player. So those are the transfers that we made so far. So squad-wise, it's looking quite good. Now, the positions that we still definitely need players in, we could do with another winger, we could do with another attacking midfielder, and we could do with another striker. We have got cover at left back and right back. We have got cover in defensive midfield. I technically do have attacking midfield cover in the form of Dyson, but Fletcher. I was looking at Dyson above him. Fletcher's obviously not really good enough at 2-star at this point. So he's one of the players we're trying to move on. Some of the players who we're struggling to move on at the moment. But that is how the squad is currently looking. If we rotate Ben Ward into the team and we put Banks back into the team, you'll probably see it at its strongest. That is probably the strongest 11 that we currently have to put out. The only thing I might do is I might change Abdullahi to like a defensive midfielder on support, just so he can have a little bit more agency to do what he wants rather than just be a ball-winning midfielder. In terms of what we're predicted to finish as for the season, we're predicted to finish relatively mid-table this year. I didn't actually see, or if I did, I can't remember, what we were predicted to finish last season. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in terms of that predicted finish. 15th would be fine, I think. I've got no issue with us getting 15th next season. I actually think we'd be good value for that with the squad that we've got, and then we just build on from there. We'll just have to see how it goes, obviously. I mean, I'd love us to be involved in some kind of promotion battle, but I think we'd be setting the bar a bit too high if we think that is going to happen. But that's how things are going. We've still got a bit of time, again, 2 to 3 weeks before we actually start the season proper. And we start the season proper this season against Hartlepool. And that's on the 2nd of August. So we've got a little bit of time left. Hartlepool, by the way, are predicted to finish in... Let's just see how we're going to compare against them. Hartlepool predicted to finish 18th. So really, we should be winning that game or drawing it. But I like to think we should be winning that game. So we'll see what happens with that one. But I'll try and get a few more transfers done. And then before we get to that game on the 2nd... hopefully our squad is a little bit more completed. Money-wise, we don't have much left. We've got about 400 quid. However, if I adjust the transfer budget to that, we can max it out to £2,000. Now, in terms of the players who are looking to come in here, they're going to cost us about 500 quid. That means we've still got some value that we can bring in that isn't just loan players. I mean, we've got a lone defender here that we don't necessarily need, a defensive midfielder here that we don't necessarily need. We've got a striker here that maybe we don't need. In fact, we've got 3 strikers that we maybe don't need, but he can play on the wing as well. So we'll see what happens. I might bring some of these lads in, I might not. We'll see if they decide they want to come here and make that decision, and then we'll see if we can get any more freebies through the door. And fingers crossed, we can hit the ground running for the coming season. Okay, we have successfully made 2 more transfers before we get to the opening game of the season. This is the first one, Joel Cotterill, who has come to us on loan from Portsmouth. Defensive midfielder, more of a central midfielder, but he can play defensively. be a solid addition in that midfield. Not the most consistent, but he'll do the job from us from time to time. And then we've also brought in Max Robson, an attacking midfielder. Can play on the wing if we need him to. Randomly can also play as a right back. Apparently he's a good tackler with the ball. I mean, I don't know why he's an attacking midfielder with that, but hey-ho, he is. But he's got a good long shot on him as well. Not a good free kick, but you can't have everything. But he looks pretty decent. He'll do a decent job as a rotation option as well. He's also got a bit of potential to grow as well at 23. We are also trying to get a backup striker in, but for the time being, that is the squad. And that is the squad that we will be taking in to our first season in league football, which, I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be good enough to do anything with. My main focus is we make sure that we consolidate a league position and we stay there for as long as we possibly can. Either for us to build on or for us to try and get ourselves in the shop window for a bigger job. One or the other. But that is the strongest 11 to a degree. Joel Cottrell probably should be in here as well, but it's about finding the best position for him. I'm debating whether we put him in as a deep line playmaker, but then Abdullah is also down as a playmaker, although, I mean, look at him. He's not necessarily that much of a playmaker. Maybe we swap those two around. We have him be defensive mid on defence, and we have him being a deep line playmaker on support. And we go with that. It's just he's not very consistent, so I'm not too sure whether that is the right thing to do. I'll have a think about that. But that would be the dream midfield. I mean, neither of them are fully match sharp, so I won't be doing that just yet. So we'll keep Ravenhill in. We'll make sure that he's in a position where we can actually play hopefully well, although we were having issues with him last season, so we'll see what happens. But that's probably what's going to end up happening. But that is the 11. That is the squad. We've still got a bunch of trialists who probably aren't going to make it. But I'm relatively happy with what we've got. I'm not over the moon delighted with it like I was last season. I was very happy with the squad last season, but this season it should be okay. We've got Ferguson and Benjamin, who are both absolutely of this level. A few of the players are as well. We know Yefeko is of this level. Abdullah is as well. Mendes, if he gets on the run like he did last season, will be great. And Richards as well. But yeah, I think it's going to be a bit more dicey this season. But we will be starting the next episode with the game against Hartlepool. It will be a game against them. And then we have got the Carabao Cup against MK Dons, who are also in this league. So we might start with that double header, including the Carabao Cup. Or we might go to Old... No, we will. We'll start with those two. We'll start with MK Dons in there as well. That feels like a plan to me. So I'll be back for those two games. And fingers crossed we've got enough about us to actually start the season off quite well. By the way, I'm fully aware this is the second costume change that I've had. This episode has taken me a couple of days to record just because of how ill I have been. But I've recovered enough now where I feel a little bit brighter. So, yeah, random costume change number 2. I know, but it is what it is. Right, I will see you for the game against Hartlepool and the game against MK Dons. And hopefully we can start league football for the first time in Spennymoor's history off with a win. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to leave a big like on there for me. And don't forget to subscribe as well. It's completely free to do so, and you'll make me a very happy chap. I've been Stu. You guys have been awesome. I just hit myself in the face with one of these, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.